Well, hello. Third, hello. Yelms 20. First, I must have gotten a notification. I didn't realize the stream tells you ahead of time. Must pop up when I start creating it. Well, welcome. Give me a second to clear my seat. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another Hobby View Live last second show. Throw some stuff over here. Hope everybody's had a nice start to the weekend, a nice Saturday. This looks like a bad battery. Let's throw this away. Hello, folks. Hey, already a few people in the chat. I'm still experimenting with what's the best time of day to do this. If it's a morning, afternoon, evening, Saturday. Saturdays are kind of nice sometimes. I do kind of, I don't know, just sort of do random things on Saturday. Sunday's more of a relaxing day. Saturdays, usually jump around. Taking my Hornet away. Yeah. Funny you mention that because this Hornet was given to me. Let me know if the audio sounds okay. I've got air conditioner running in the background. It might be a little buzzy. If it is, I can put the noise canceling on, but I usually try not to do the noise canceling if I can avoid it because it kind of makes my voice sound a little weird. So let me clean up a little, put my thoughts together, and see some things. I see some people. It's good. Murdoch cockpit. All right, thank you. It's good, yeah. Yeah, Volt. Hey, Fly Cam. Okay, you're gonna join me. This is some random stuff. Hey, Fly Cam, you'll recognize one of these cars. Saturday evenings are cool, but Saturdays are nice too for a shut-in evening. Sunday evenings. Oh, Sunday evenings. Yeah, I thought about Sunday evenings. The only thing is, me being weird, I always like to give consideration to people in other countries, believe it or not. And because I've had not a significant amount of people say they're from, hi, I'm from Australia or I'm from England or something. And so sometimes the evening, it's either better for me to do either the evening or the morning. So because it usually means that they can participate too. It's not at a weird hour. But that's neither here and there. Oh, ball bearings. Okay. So anyways, I see a few people have gotten in. Maybe I'll start. Near Terre Haute, Indiana. Okay. I'm just looking at the chat here. Very valid. But, it's just one of those things. If it's not a whole lot of, it's not a huge deal. I just thought we'd consider it in that case. Because I always get a kick out of people that say, yeah, I'm from Istanbul. And I watched the show. It's tough. Really? All right. So anyways, let me, sorry, I want to reposition. I turn on the light and it's in the way of the computer. Give me a second to discombobulate my workshop here. College football's all day Saturday. Oh yeah, the football thing. But I have a bunch of monitors so I can stream it all. Yeah, sorry, I'm not a football person. I've never been really into football, so I'm totally oblivious to anything that goes on with football. I know once a year they have this thing called the Super Bowl. That's some month. Was it February? Maybe? I don't know. But I don't pay any attention to other stuff. So somebody had mentioned that football was a thing on Saturday sometimes, but I thought it was more early afternoon, not necessarily at night. But what do I know? Nothing. All right. So anyway, hello everybody. Welcome to the Hobby View. You can see me? You can see me. The Hobby Views. My chair is really high. Hold on a second. I think. There we go. All right. Hopefully, man, I look dark on the menu. So yeah, one of my things is I think I need a new camera. My camera is acting wonky. It's really, for some reason, really dark. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, you're not going to be looking at me with the stuff I'm working on. So as you can see on my table, I've got a bunch of RC cars. And I thought, well, hey, maybe I'll have a... I've been some of them have been sitting on the shelf for quite a while. Some are recent acquisitions. So I thought, well, maybe I'll have a little, while I tinker with them. I've been meaning to tinker with them, and I've just been so busy, and I actually got a little bit of time tonight to do some stuff on my own. And I thought, well, what the heck? That looked terrible. What the heck? I thought I would tinker with them, and why not have another live show? You can look over my shoulder, and I just, if you're really bored, you can see what I'm working on. And then, of course, maybe the YouTube gods help the algorithm. So kill two birds with one stone. But I thought it might be interesting to people to see some interesting things other than the RC airplanes I usually do. Because I actually, when I was a wee lad, way back, one of the really first things that got me into radio control, I won't say airplanes, but radio control, was RC cars. Obviously, as a kid, RC cars are significantly less risky than airplanes, and easy to do, and it was something that all young kids usually like to have RC cars of some sort. And I've always liked RC cars. I liked RC everything, and cars were kind of cool. And so one of the first things, like I say, of a hobby quality, I've always had some sort of RC car as a kid growing up, Christmas time or something, get these toy things. But there was one point where I was, one Christmas, I was able to get a real RC car, not a Radio Shack Special or a Kmart or Sears or whatever was popular back then, but an actual, honest to God, like a Tamiya. You buy a box of parts that you got to put together and build as a kit. And this was a really neat thing. I did it as a early teens, and I was able to build it and had a lot of fun with it. And I had two choices. One, I was offered two choices of cars. I had to pick one car, and I was narrowing it down. There was a local hobby shop I went to, and I would look around and stuff. And I was thinking either two Tamiya cars. One was called the Frog, which was fairly new at the time, and it was an off-road buggy racer thing. It looked kind of cool. And there was another one called a Wild Willie, and they're two totally different cars. Well, the Frog being a fast off-roader, the Wild Willie being a comical wheelie car. Basically, it's a Jeep that does wheelies. And in fact, there's one right here. And the Wild Willie caught my attention because it seemed, as a kid, he said, wow, cool, it's a RC car that can do wheelies. And it was kind of a Jeep thing. It looked kind of cool. I said, well, maybe I should get one of those. But despite me having one right here, actually, I ended up getting the Frog. I had some friends. They said, no, you want the Frog. It's fast. It's cool. It's a racer. So I got the Frog. And I don't, what do you call it? Regret that decision. I had a lot of fun with the Frog. It got me really into the RC, more into the hobby, and I ran it for years. I don't have it anymore, unfortunately, but even when I did have it, it had transformed so much. I put a pan chassis on it eventually, did all kinds of weird stuff with it. It was just a shell of itself. So when Tamiya offered this, the Wild Willie 2, I said, I always wanted a Wild Willie. So even as an adult, let me go just grab one and build it up and just see what it really was like, and so I can relive some of my childhood. And lo and behold, they made some changes. This is not the original version. I actually had a chance to see an original one, and it's actually quite a bit different as far as the chassis. The concept is the same. I'm pretty sure it had the same exact body, but the chassis was almost completely different, where this one has a rear independent suspension. The original Wild Willie had just a single axle. It was a little more primitive, and I think a little heavier. But the concept was the same. There was a little wheelie bar on the bottom here. And so it was designed, it's kind of top heavy, and the batteries in the back kind of, and the CG is set so that when you gun it, it just does this, just does a wheelie. And lo and behold, this thing was more fun than a barrel of monkeys. This actually is a really, really fun car. I can see if I had it as a kid, I wouldn't have regretted that decision either. It was just, it's a totally different experience. The steering is kind of vague, and of course there's no steering when it's doing a wheelie. It's a little top heavy. It's not very fast at all, but it is a lot of fun. And in fact, this one's got a whole bunch of sand on it and stuff because I took it to a beach and had a lot of fun with it. I actually whenever we go to the beach or something, I always end up grabbing this and just driving it around, and people get a kick out of it. And it's just a whole lot of fun. It's really neat. So I'm really glad I got one as an adult, and I have a joy with it. And the interesting thing is just the battery. Where did I? So it's funny because take this apart here. The battery pack it's designed for round cells, so nickel metal hydrides and NiCads. So it's interesting that despite being a version 2 or more a 21st century version, as so to speak, they're still designed around the old battery pack. In fact, it's really kind of, I didn't have to take the body off, but there's 8,000 pins here. But you can open that up and you can pull the battery out. I gotta, come on, baby, get out of there. Okay, here we go. So I put just a regular nickel metal hydride. But what was interesting is when I got this car, because I couldn't put a larger lithium in there, like a 2-cell. You probably put a smaller 2-cell, but I wanted something larger. I said, well, and probably needed the weight too for the wheelie part. So I decided to go with nickel metal hydride. And I was amazed. This is a 5,000 milliamp hour nickel metal hydride. This is basically the same energy density as a lithium in this relatively same size form factor. It's amazing with how much the regular round cell nickel metal hydrides are. Of course, this is heavier. This is probably twice the weight of a lithium battery, but it's amazing how much they cram, because when I started, 1,200 milliamp hours was pretty much all you're going to get in a standard size 6-cell battery pack like this. It was 1,200, and eventually they started creeping up. You can get to, I think, 1,400, and 1,700s were pretty popular. But usually those didn't perform as well. It'd probably be fine for this, but for racing and stuff, they had a high internal resistance, so they were more capacity, but they just weren't that great. 1,200 NiCads were the thing for the longest time until eventually nickel metal hydrides came on the scene. They started getting pretty good. The 2400s, I think, were pretty popular for quite a while. I flew those in some of my electric helicopters in the early days. And so it's fascinating that nowadays you can basically get the equivalent capacity in a nickel metal hydride. Nickel metal hydrides are very durable. You can charge them really fast. They don't have the memory effect that the NiCads had. They don't go into thermal runaway. So there's still a lot of good things about them. I think they're relatively inexpensive too. It just, the only thing is the weight. For RC cars and boats, I think these are fantastic. I actually have a similar pack in a boat that I run, and it runs for a long time. It's actually a great thing for the boats, because boats usually need a little bit of ballast in them, unless you're racing. But in the cars, depending what you're doing, if you're just bashing, it's fine. So I think it's just fascinating. You can get a really good high capacity nickel metal hydrides nowadays. So anyways, too much sand in there, nothing fits. So it's a neat design, actually. And if you want a kind of a fun, weird car, I actually kind of recommend the Wild Willie. It's really, really pretty nice. You're not going to win any races with it, but it's just kind of fun to just drive around and do stuff with it. But anyways, I'm not here really to talk about the Wild Willie. I think I built this a couple of Christmases ago. I picked it up, and it was neat to build an RC car. It had been years since I had built an RC car, and so I like this. I had so much fun. I ended up getting another Tamiya car. Tamiya used to make something called a Audi Quattro way, way, way back a long time. Never had one, always wanted one. And they came up with a newer version that's one of their chassis that they use, common chassis, TTO2, I think. And it's all-wheel drive. It's kind of fun, too, in a different way. Oh, man, that was dust. So anyways, the main reason, really, I'll put this way over there. So I had gotten a couple of things. Let me check the camera here. So you see on a table, they're not in order of production, but some RC cars, some old Tamiya RC cars. I've always been more a Tamiya person than the Kyosho. Not that anything against Kyosho, it's just where I grew up, Tamiyas were more popular in the hobby shops for the most part. And I ended up working in a hobby shop, and they only sold Tamiya. The owner wanted nothing to do with Kyosho. He said, we're just going to do Tamiya. Okay, so the competitor did Kyosho, but I never was out there all that often. But Tamiya had, I think, a better marketing game back then. I'd go in a hobby shop, and there was they were playing on a VCR loop, a Tamiya advertisement. You see all the cars going through, just they're driving the cars kind of in slow motion a little bit to add drama to the video, a little dramatized action and stuff, but they were still pretty neat. And one of the cars I would always see on those videos was this. This is the Baja buggy, the Tamiya. This is one of the early, of course, this is early 80s Baja buggy, and I always thought it was interesting that I would see this and some of the features on it. This is pretty ancient, and I got this at a swap meet. This is not something I've had for a long time. I just had it for a couple of years or so. And I was at a swap meet, and there's a guy who had this. I said, I always kind of wanted one of these old school Tamiya buggies because they were really fascinating. I'm gonna take the body off. They had a couple different ones with the same chassis. I think they had the sand scorcher and I think it was called a Baja buggy. I might be conflating the two. But they had the kind of the same chassis. These are hard ABS plastic bodies on them. They're very nice. They're actually fairly scale-ish. This is the Volkswagen one. And it's got some louvers and windows, got lights. And, the person did all the stickers and stuff on it. But what's really fascinating about these is the chassis on these things, on the early ones. A lot of metal bits on these things. If you really look at it, the front suspension arms are pretty much all metal with I think there's a torsion bar inside here that provides a spring action, and I can't remember if these are shocks. I think they are. I think there's no more oil in them. They don't have a whole lot of movement, but they were really pretty neat. Again, it's all metal. There's fiberglass part of the chassis on the bottom frame, some more metal bits. The whole gearbox is all metal. Metal A-arms with the universal joints. And these things are pretty stout. Now, they weren't perfect. There's some issues going on. I'll get those in a second. But it was really cool. And they had a kind of just like a dune buggy kind of metal engine protection. That's a roll bar. I think it's metal, maybe plastic. I think it's plastic. But a lot of the roll bar is metal. And one of the interesting features is this box, the electronics box. And if you build it right, the whole electronics box was waterproof. So you could literally drive this thing underwater and come out the other side and not have a problem with your radio system. You'd have to, I think you had to put a special sealant around the edges and not cut holes in it like this person did. So this was no longer waterproof, it's more of a dust cover. But still, I thought it was pretty cool. It had a waterproof switch box here. And the gears as well on the transmission. It's got some protection here, some waterproofing that you can do. It's the same thing for the motor. I'm just going to get the camera here. Sorry, I zoomed in too far. So the whole motor is all encased as well for waterproofing. It was really interesting that they did that. And pretty complicated in a way. The only thing is the gearbox itself, the transmission, if you want to call it that, doesn't have a differential. So it is just posi-track, which is good and bad. So off-road, that's really good. You get a lot of power and stuff. On-road, it caused a lot of problems. I remember a classmate had one in high school, and he brought it in. He let us drive it. And one of the problems was, since it didn't have a differential, it was prone to flipping over because there was no way of, when it turns, both wheels are turning in the same speed, and it would just catch and just roll over. And so it was really it was terrible to drive on road. Off road, they're great. On road, they were terrible. Oh, there's a torsion bar. So I'm looking at it. It's kind of interesting in that it doesn't have the normal coil over springs that you see on modern RC cars. There's literally a piece of metal. You can see on the bottom of the chassis. I'm trying to move it. There we go. Oops, sorry. I hit a button. There we go. Sorry. So there's like a little torsion bar right here, and that is what causes spring action. And again, there's some supposedly, I think, oil-filled shocks there, but I think they're all empty. So this is a fascinating car with interesting technology from the early days of RC cars. This is where Tamiya was starting to really get some interesting, good designs, but they still had a ways to go for some. It's still a bit complicated in a way, but it is designed to be rugged. So when I saw this at a swap meet, I said, wow, that's cool. I've always wanted one. Price was good. So I figured, well, I'll take it home and restore it. And I put it on the shelf and haven't touched it, barely touched it. So I thought tonight maybe I'll touch it a little bit and see if the radio works. It's got interesting radio. I'll show you that in a second. Another one is, of course, the old classic Hornet. There were two of these. There's two of the same body style. There's a grasshopper and the Hornet. This might be a grasshopper, as a matter of fact. This is a grasshopper, sorry. There's a grasshopper and the Hornet. The colors were throwing me off. And the main difference was the motor. Now, this one has a differential. This is where Tamiya, a little later, now they got just a molded plastic body, really simple spring-loaded A-arms, and a solid chassis in the back, axle in the back with springs. You could get upgrades. You have actual shocks instead of just springs. The main difference between a Hornet and the Grasshopper, if I remember correctly, is Grasshopper had a 380 motor, and the Hornet had the larger 540 motor. So basically, you had this one was for beginners, and with the Hornet being for more intermediate type driving. So if you had a small kid that was just kind of getting into RC, you get this one. Even though you still have to put it together, it's a very, very simple thing to put together. With the help of an adult, you can slap it together pretty quickly. It's got a small motor, so it doesn't go too fast and get you into trouble. If you want something a little spriter, get the Hornet with a bigger motor. Still simple to build, inexpensive cars. And I think this is really when Tamiya started taking off, is when they started introducing cars like this. And lately, only just a couple of months ago, I walked into a local surplus store, and they had this. I was just kind of walking in. I hadn't been in the store in quite a long time, and I was looking for some electronic stuff. And I saw this, and I said, wait a minute, that's a Tamiya RC car. And to be honest, I don't remember ever seeing one of these. Apparently, they were out for a while. Apparently, they were actually reissued recently, fairly recently, but I don't pay much attention to car stuff anymore. And it's a holiday buggy, and I had never seen one. But this is the original one. This is not the reissue. I understand. I did some research, and for the reissue, they changed a bunch of stuff. So the reissue, I think, has the same body, but again, like the Wild Willie, the chassis is like completely different, or a lot different. And so this one is not in great shape. It's not. It's built. So I just saw it, and I talked to a person, and we worked out a deal on it. And it's semi-rough shape. The body's kind of beat up. But I was just fascinated with it. It was an actual classic RC car. From the timeline, I believe it is in between the sand scorcher here and the Hornet Grasshopper. So if I were to put these together in chronological order, you have the sand scorcher, the holiday buggy, and then the Grasshopper / Hornet. So it was sort of a what do you want to call it? A impulse buy, so to speak. So it is interesting. So you're looking at it. Oh, I see that some repair work has been done on it. So they have, it's kind of a weird kludge of stuff. It's kind of just an oddball car, to be honest with you. So it's got the hard ABS body. This one's kind of beat up. I did find some replacement parts off of eBay, so I can at least try to fix the top part. There's a piece here that goes on the hood, the top cover and whatnot. But otherwise, I didn't want to really spend too much money on it. But this is, so it's got sort of the A-arms, just like in the back of the Baja buggy, but instead of torsion bars, it's got these sort of fiberglass equivalent, which is interesting. So that provides the spring action, but there's no shocks at all. It's just simple spring action. It's got a 380 motor, which is a little disappointing, and it's got an open gearbox. I thought maybe a cover was missing or something. And when I looked it up, apparently it's supposed to be open like that. That's kind of weird. It's just going to open. That's just asking for sand and stuff to get in there. Even though it looks like there's a couple of holes, maybe there's an aftermarket cover or something. I just thought that was weird. And it's got basically plastic A-arms. So it looks like it's a case where they're trying to start saving on some money, I believe, just by guessing on it. It's interesting how the servos are placed, the receivers in the front. You get the plastic chassis. And this one actually has also the old school This is the variable speed controller. It's a rheostat basically. This is a looking. Am I looking in there? Okay. So for the speed controller, there's a wire wound resistor with a wiper arm on it, and so this gives you the variable speed until you went all the way to the end, and that was full speed. There's no more resistance. So these were very common back in the 80s to have a mechanical speed controller. Yeah, I think even into the 90s, just like this. There's several different types. This is actually a slightly better one. This one actually gives you somewhat variable speeds throughout the range. Tamiya later went to a 2 or 3 step speed control, 3-step. So you had sort of a low speed, a middle speed, and a high speed. And it had a big resistor, wire wound ceramic resistor somewhere on the car. And in fact, I think the Baja buggy has it. Yeah, it does. There we go. So you see, yeah, back out here. There we go. And underneath this metal protection thing, because it got really hot. So there's a wire wound resistor that's encased in a ceramic housing. And you can see the 2 wires here. It was like 10 ohm resistor or something like that. And there was a wiper. It's in here. I got to take the thing off. And it would give you like 3 speeds. It was real primitive, but it worked. The problem is if you ran around at low speeds, it went through the resistor, and this resistor get really, really, really hot. That's why there's a metal thing on it to protect you. But after a while, the case would crack, and it would just melt. It just broke. And so when I worked at the hobby shop, we sold a lot of these resistors, especially to younger kids that didn't want to drive around at full speed because the resistor would eventually just fail. I think they were relatively inexpensive, but eventually we would say, just get an electronic speed controller. You won't have that more problem anymore. And it's more efficient because when you're driving at low speed, you're wasting a lot of energy producing heat out of here. So you're not getting any more runtime. So you're going slower and it's fine, but you're still wasting a whole lot of energy. But with electronic speed controller, since it was electronically controlling the motor using something called pulse width modulation, so it would be more efficient to run at low speed because it was pulsing the voltage or power to the motor instead of just a lower voltage. It was a much better deal. But anyways, nowadays all cars come with electronic speed controller, so this is just a little bit of history. So to be honest, I've got these things and I have not really even touched them. And so I thought I'd go and see if they even worked. So like, for example, I think we'll start with the holiday buggy. This one's basically ready to go. Of all of them, this one is just basically, does the radio work? And I think I have some stuff. I'll have to double check. There is that. And then this one is interesting because it is so old. Probably the same thing for the buggy. It's got the old style connectors. I'm going to pull one out here. They have 3 pins. I don't know if you can see that. That is the original Futaba. I think they called it the G-style connector. And so you just got 3 exposed pins on the servo connector. That's how old this is. Maybe some of you have never seen that. But it's way ancient. Even when I started getting into RC models, this was pretty old. This was not something used all that often. But I would see it occasionally. So this is an old 72 megahertz receiver. It's got a crystal in it. Came with a radio, which is odd. It is basically an airplane radio, which I thought was odd, but whatever. So, but I'm curious to see if it works. It's old AM, not really good for anything nowadays. It's more of a collector's item or just shelf queen. But I have some batteries. I have, I think, a whatchamacallit. Yeah, we're going to use some old school AA batteries to stick in there. And I think this goes, oh, that won't work. Of course, what's fun with these old ones is they've got the wrong connectors on them. I might have to make something up really quick in order to turn this on. I don't think I have any of these old school connectors. Let me go check real quick. I know I have some old radio equipment, but I don't think I have anything that old. But I will look for a couple seconds. see if I've got anything that ancient that was around with the dinosaurs. So what I probably will do is just no, it's not in there. Anything in the chat? Slap the motor hose change for a larger motor. Yeah, I could do that, but I might just leave them just the way they are unless I'm really. These come with most electronics out of the box. Mine's RX and battery. I'm sorry, look at the chat here since I'm up. So no, back in those days, you had to source everything independently. When you bought the car kit, you got the car kit and nothing else. You got a motor, and that was it. You had to get your own servos, receiver, radio. They did have the mechanical speed controller, but everything else was sourced separately. And so I had to choose a radio. I chose no electronics. Throw your own servos in it. They didn't have the almost ready to runs so much as you see today. Well, they're really rare. Yeah, somebody made a comment about the tires. Yeah, especially on this sand scorcher, the front tires are just trash. But I believe I got some replacement ones. It's interesting that they reissued some of these with some minor changes, and so now you can kind of get some parts for a lot of these, which is always off of eBay you can get some stuff, but now you can get actually some remanufactured parts. But they changed some things. I understand they have to change some of the stickers because for licensing reasons. So one of the big things about the early first issue ones is a lot of times they'll have different stickers for the markings for the sponsorships and stuff like that. So that's interesting. And that's one because I've been thinking about getting another frog. One thing I noticed is, hey, the decals are different. Why did they change the decals? So I'm not going to look for another connector. So I'm just going to hot wire it and see if I can get it to work. So I'm going to grab some batteries, grab some alligator clips, and we'll just Mickey Mouse it. All I want to do is see if it works at all. Where's my alligator clips? Those are not alligator clips. I mean, they are alligator clips when the right type. What's that? There's one. I am finding random stuff that might work. Oh yeah, I wonder if this would work. I wonder if that would work. Sorry, I thought I was just going to plug the battery in because it came with the battery connecting. The battery, that might work too. Ooh, yeah, that's what I need. No, it's not what I need. Dang it. Yeah, it is. But I just looking at it, realized it was not the right one. So I'm just looking for that one extra alligator clip, which has walked away on me. Oh, come on. It's an alligator clip that I never put anywhere. Give me a second. I'm grabbing random connectors. Ah, there we go. There's that. There we go. Found it. Buried in the box. Okay, now that I've got some random bits and pieces, grab a stripper, a knife. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is see if I can get any life out of this. And I might have to get some other alligator clips for some other stuff. I just realized there was something I should have tried before I started. That's all right. That's a 3S. All right, hard case rule. Okay. I think this will fit in there. Okay. Yes. All right. All right. All right. Now we're cooking with oil. Okay. I got everything I need. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is batteries in here. Let's get that out. Find some batteries. Okay. So we're going to take this. There is 1 second. Hopefully the terminals are good. It's going to be a little rough. I'm going to so I can clean these terminals a little bit. Some sandpaper. Dang, it looks terrible. Didn't have batteries when I got it, but I see some corrosion. Yikes. All right, well, let's hope. There's another one down there I can't get to very well. I don't think it's too bad. I'm going to throw some batteries in and see if it turns on. Yes, double A's. 8 of them. Got some fresh batteries. Oh, I remember these days. Oh, these damn batteries. Getting them into the, whatchamacallit. There we go. Oh, there's a little charge adapter in the back. Now, if I do run it, I'm not going to use this. Well, I don't know. That would be kind of fun. All right, so let's see if it does anything. Batteries are in. There's a little handy meter right here. I don't know if you can see it. So I'm going to turn it on and see if it does anything. Hey! Shows power in the meter. I don't know if you can see that. When I turn it on, see the meter goes up, down. Okay. So meter's not all that great other than tell you that there's some power or not. Next is see if we can hotwire this sucker. I found some connectors that I use with these, so I might be able to just stick these into the thing here. Yeah, I think that makes a connection. These are pins I use for like breadboarding electronics and stuff. I just happen to have a couple in the thing. So that allows me to grab. So now I can hot wire. Since it's got a non-standard from anything in the past 30 years battery connector, so I'm just going to do that. And there's a 4 battery connector thing I have with this on it. So I had some batteries. There they are. A whole bunch of batteries, so we'll stick that in there. Oh, they're AAA. Why is it AAA? I thought they were AA. That's AAA2. Ah, dang it. Sorry about that. Give me 1 minute to go grab some AA batteries. Not in here. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. For some reason, there's a AAA battery holder, which is not standard either. from back in the day. So I'm guessing somebody, whoever had the car, thought just went with it and just stuck it in there, even though it's not right. It'll work just fine. It's just unusual. Wasn't expecting that. Didn't look at it closely. All right, so some AAA batteries in there, and I need I got some adapters here. It gives me a pigtail. There it is. So I'm gonna hot wire this stuff. Negative, negative, negative. All right, folks. We are getting ready. I don't know if there's a switch on the bottom. Don't know if it works or not. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is going to turn on the radio. That is on. And then we're going to hook this up. And that's powered up. That's presumably powered up. Not getting anything, but there's a switch. Maybe it's off. And nothing. All that, and we're not getting anything. Nothing. Channel 40. Can I get to the receiver? Let's look at the crystal. It says 40. Again, this is old. There's no guarantee this works, so yeah, nothing. Yeah. Didn't even glitch. I could try directly. Yeah, I could try directly. Let me double check that I'm getting power from the receiver. Yeah, 6 volts. All right. So I just grabbed a voltmeter. So let's see. Speaking of voltmeter, let's see if we're getting power. So this connector's, I believe, what to see. Sorry. I believe there's 3 pins, but one's slightly separated from the other. I think this is a signal, and these are power, maybe? One way to find out. I want to take the voltmeter and see if I get any power out of them. I don't know if you can see that or not. There we go. All right, so we've got 6 volts at the terminals. We will see if I got any voltage. No. No. Hard to hold it. No. No. Oh, try to switch. All right. No. No. Oh. Is the switch not working? Nothing. Nothing. All right. So we are not getting anything. Oh, this will tell me which the pins. Give me a second. So we're going to try to bypass the switch. I'm just going to try to reverse engineer what. Basically, I'm going to plug. Tell me what pins are what. I'm going to plug the power into the. See which way it fits. Is it this way? There we go. Okay, so looking at that, now I know the 2 pins that are close to each other are the power with the outer pin being negative. So remember that. 2 pins closer to each other are power, the outer pin negative. So what I can do is I can take this, stick it directly into the receiver. Good thing I happen to have these handy. So I'm just going to plug. I can barely see it. Hold on a second. There we go. Plug it in there. There we go. And I am hoping this works. These pins might be a little big. Did it just do something? Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at that. Let's back out a little bit. Did you see that? It's alive. So auto works. Look at the steering. Look at that. 40-year-old technology still works. As it was. So it's got a bad switch. That's a good thing we bypassed it. That is too cool. All right, let me know in the chat. Should I still use this old radio with this car, or should I put a new? I have a modern 2.4 gigahertz real radio. What do you think? Should I go old school on this, or go with something new? So I want to see if I can hot wire the motor as well. Give me a second to see if I can get the battery. So it's got the old Tamiya, quote unquote Tamiya plugs, the Molex, and it's funny because these were so common back in the day, and they're actually kind of terrible. They're okay for just hopping around, but they can't handle much power. The connectors aren't that great. They're really, really not good. I knew racers back in the day, the first thing you do is cut these suckers off and get rid of them. So I don't have any more batteries with these that I think I can hot wire I don't know if I can that'll work. Give me a second to see what I have as an option. I can, of course, cut it off and resolder something real quick, maybe, but it'd be nice if I just... Oh, wait, let me check my connector box. I might have something. I've got a thing full of connectors. It might have an old school Tamiya in there. I used to have a Tamiya connector. It would just bounce around in different boxes. I never had a heart to get rid of it, but I never would probably use it for anything. But no, I don't see it. All right, so I'll just have to hot wire something in there. Give me 1 second. I'll Mickey Mouse something up real quick. Yeah, I don't see it. I have no idea whatever I did with those. I'll find it when I'm not looking for it. So I ran a big Zener diode to power the RX from the NiCad. Oh, yeah, because you can get Zener diodes and set voltages. So, yeah, that's pretty clever, yes. You use Zener as a really inexpensive voltage, really crude voltage regulator, so to speak. All right, so I might just have to grab some wires. Oh, this might work. Can I stick these in there? No. There is that. And then there is... I'll just grab some wires. All right, I want to MacGyver up something real quick to see if, just to get the motors to run. So what I'm going to do is just, I got some alligator clips that will fit into the, with banana plugs on one end. I don't have another set of alligator clips, so I'm just going to plug these. It's neat that these banana clips can just fit right in there like that. I'm going to do both of them. I want to trick myself. And I'm just going to grab some wire, strip these out. I just want to see it run. So this. So all I'm going to do is take these. I just stripped some wires. I'm just going to jam them into the Tamiya connector, just like that. So I just jam the wires in there. I got a couple of pigtails. I'll connect those with some alligator clips. And I can solder up nice connectors later. All right, so those are there. I'll put this away. And I'm just going to stick a banana connector to here. All right. And now we're going to see if I get any activity out of here. No. Did I wire everything up? There's power. Nothing. It's always something, huh? So the wiper's working, but I am not getting any power. Now there's a little fuse thing right here. What's this? Which might be blown. Interesting, there's a fuse. I never ran a fuse, and that's. Well, the fuse looks good. I can bypass it. There is. It's a negative. Oh, there we go. Maybe the fuse isn't good. We'll round the table. Oh, look at that! That's backwards. I don't know if you can see that. So when I move the stick down, it goes forward. You stick up, it goes backwards. Oh, we got a dead spot. There's probably a direction switch. Yeah, there is. On, I don't know what channel that is. Is that channel 2? Need a little screwdriver or something. This will work. So in the back of the radio, there's actually little teeny tiny little switches. There you go. You can see them there. I'm just going to flip that one. See if that changes it. Yep, that did it. So it works. Look at that. So I've got a nice little RC. Neat. So it runs and the radio works. I can't say for the range, but that's pretty neat. That's amazing. To be honest, I'm kind of surprised the radio works. I bought it just because I figured I'd just rip the radio out anyways. And I figured there's a good chance the other stuff would work. You know, I might even keep this rheostat speed controller until it dies. It's just a little tiny motor. I don't know if they have upgrades for 540 motor. It does look like there's space. But just for the what do you want to call it? The just unusualness of this. It's a kind of a rare kit, I think, in the novelty of it. Hey, steering's in the right direction. All right, let me plug this before I zap myself. That is really cool. The servo saver, old school radio. Switch is dead, so I'm going to have to rewire that. I'm not going to do that now, but at least I know. All I have to do is replace the switch, and this fuse apparently is not good. Let me check it here real quick. Really shouldn't be a fuse. I'll probably just bypass it. I don't think there's really a need for it. All right. Huh. Well, fuse is good, so maybe it's a connector. Oh, radio's glitching. So anyways, so yeah, the connector's probably corroded, and that's what did it. All right, so one down. That was interesting. Or it may not even be connected in there. All right, turn this off. So, nice little find at the surplus store. Disconnect everything. There we go. There's some issue with the, I'm not sure. I'm going to see if I can find a manual or something. There's a lot of play in the rear axle here. I don't know if it's a bearing is gone or something. So that's probably not. I'm trying to investigate that. All right. Put that sucker in there. Oh, battery thing with all the adapters. I don't think I ever had RC car with a 380 motors. I've always went 540. Always want more power. You know, while I'm powering stuff up and I got all these adapters hanging out, let's check a look and see if the sand scorcher powers up and does anything. Repurpose these batteries. Ooh, this thing is broken. The case is cracked and whatnot. Oh yeah, this piece fell out. It's kind of interesting working with RC cars. Something I don't really do very often, but it's a little bit cathartic, simple, a lot simpler in a lot of ways, and doing stuff with the airplanes. All right, little buddy, see how you do. Let me take the body off again. Excuse me a second. Where is the controller? Oh. Again, with the Tamiya connector. This was the thing. Oh, Tamiya Molex connector. So I'm going to have to see if I can get to the innards. I'm going to have to. What are the switches for? All right. So interestingly enough, let me get the transmitter for this one. This one, I am definitely going to use the transmitter if it works, which I don't know if it does or not. I'm check this out. When I got it, it came with this transmitter. So, well, that's cool. And when I opened it up, I said, "Oh, that's even cooler," because it is an old school wheel, almost like I don't know what they call these things. I call it almost like a single stick. These were really interesting. These were very popular back in the day for racing. Of course, you've got your wheel for steering, and the throttle was on the side. And so you kind of held it like this. And you kind of held it as you drove, almost cradling it. In your left hand was your throttle, moving back and forth, and your right hand was your steering. And I guess it works reasonably well. I mean, once you get used to it, I think it's just fine. It's not the most ergonomic thing in the world, but at the time, they didn't have, before they went with the pistol grips, this was the thing. And of course, you got the giant antenna in there. You even got his flag still on it. So I'm going to have to get in here, see if I can get to the batteries. In fact, the back case comes off. And oh, there's actually batteries, well, some batteries. And you can see the circuit board. And so it's a metal case on this thing, which is really neat. And so there's batteries in here, which is unfortunate because you leave batteries in, they tend to do just like this. I should have done this earlier since they've started to leak. That's not good. And so there's some corrosion on a little terminal here. It's not terrible. It only looks like only one side kind of leaked. Oh, that's interesting. There's a gap thing. I wonder why they have that in it. Is it not supposed to have all the batteries? So all these, I'm going to throw all these away. These are old, and it's unusual for energizers to leak like that. They don't usually leak from my experience. All right. So, but at least they have. Again, it's got the old 3-pin Futaba connector from 100 years ago. So there's one terminal on here that seems to have gotten corroded. Let me find my sandpaper. It was here 2 seconds ago. Where'd it go? Oh, it's on the floor. So let's see if I can. There's another way of doing this with, I think it's vinegar, to really clean these off like this. So just corrosion, but I'm not going to have time for that. So I'm just going to see if some sandpaper was enough to clean up the terminal. Should be enough to get me where I needed to go. All right. So the good batteries in there. Double A's. It's interesting that for these type of batteries, the technology really hasn't changed, right? So I want you to put 7 instead of 8. Is that really right? All right. Is there? Oh, there's a meter on there. See if it does anything. A little bit. It's like not enough. So I'm going to remove this little spacer thing that's in there for some reason and put all 8 in there, I think. Come out. Got a little 9-volt adapter kind of thing. Does this not come out? Oh, that is very odd. So, well, anyways, the meter moved a little bit, so hopefully it's enough power to get the job done. That is it's not coming out. I think it's built into the thing. Yeah, that's weird. All right. I'm not going to, but at least it's clear enough. This may not be the right. I don't know what's going on with that. But I got some power on the meter. Should be enough to get something. Hopefully. Oh, there's a crystal on here. Channel something. Channel 72 something. Doesn't say what channel. Oh, there's a trim too on the throttle. There you go. Trim on the steering. Kind of hidden. All right, so let's go into this guy here to see if works. We've got these neat, we call it captive screws. I think that works. Does that work? Or is it a pin? Whoa! Oops! Yeah, it was pinned all right. But here's the spring. I just lost one of the things. It flew across the room. I heard it. I should put my hand over it. It's somewhere. I'll look for it later. Well, that was fun. Well, I can at least have the spring. I may have replacements. That was weird. So there's a nail. I was like, how come it's not coming out? And I said, hey, there's a little thing keeping on it. It was a little nail thing. And it just popped out when it flew across the room. My eye. How about this one? So that's there. That's out. Okay. And this one's completely different. What the heck? So looks like the person, there we go, changed the way the thing stays on, just to put his own screw in there somehow. I think I ordered some replacements. I don't know. I have to look in the box. Like I said, you can get some replacement parts. Come on, baby. There we go. All right, so we're gonna see if this comes off. Hey, it does. Well, there's a switch. There's some oddball stuff going on here. There we go. And here's the battery. Oh, another one. Ah, great. How's it? Oh, it's double-sided tape. All right, so you want to guess if these are corroded too? These are screwed together. Now this is an actual AA battery, and it's heavy, so there's batteries in there. It's supposed to come apart, right? There we go. Oh man, they're corroded. Ouch. Yeah, Duracells, I know. Well, as you can see this, it's pretty bad. Okay, this one, yeah, no. Really badly corroded. In fact, this battery won't even come out. Oh, sorry. This one doesn't want to come out. This one doesn't want to come out. This one doesn't want to. It's destroyed. All right, so that's going to take a lot more work to get that working. So I'm going to just unplug it. Again, I have the stuff here to, I think, to hot wire it. I think. All right, so that ain't going to work. It's interesting. There's a micro switch for something. I think. Oh, it's a fuse. Oh, okay. There's a little circuit breaker right here. Oh, neat. And that's the way you do it. So, how am I going to get power? And there's a switch that's seen better days. Oh, no, that's just a cover. All right. We will see about, after taking the batteries out of that thing, I'm going to need it. Yeah, learn a lesson. Don't leave batteries in anything for any period of time. You'd think they would have solved that leaking problem by now, or put NiCads. All right, so put these in there. So, hey, I wonder if this would fit. Oh, it does. I didn't think of that. So the old connector and the new one, I think I can get them to fit. I didn't think of that. Without having to have a bunch of adapters. So, because the other one was positive, I think I can. Can I? Or is it not working? Yeah, look at that. Right polarity. Ah, ah. All right. So, radio. I think that's it. Turn this on. That is on. Not getting anything. Turn the switch on, maybe. And nothing. Yeah, we're getting nothing. And that is on, right? Oh, did it do something? Yeah, it did. It's glitching. Oh, hello. Oh, it's, yeah, the steering's working. Throttle. There we go. Hey, 2 for 2. So it's just kind of bad connection or something in the transmitter. Steering kind of barely works. Something stiff. So by using this, you can hear it and you can see the thing moving. Can you see that? That's the speed controller, and we've got some vestige of steering. Kind of. All right, let's see if we get something out of the motor. How did we do that last time? Maybe shove wires into things. There it is. So we shove the positive wire to there, and the negative wire into there. Make sure those don't touch. Positive, negative, and let's see if it does anything. Oh. Let's try this again. No, they both came out. Wonderful. Yes, Mickey Mousing has its perils. Oh, hello. Stop that. Getting wrapped around the axle here, literally. All right, let's try that again. Okay, so the motor works a little bit at least. Here we go. Oh, now you're playing with power. There you go. The trim was a little off. Yeah, perfect. It's been pretty good. Of course, this has a 540 motor in it. Sounds like there might be a tooth missing off of one of the gears. Cool. It runs. I'm really happy this runs. Because I'm really hoping to run this radio. This is a wonderfully old school radio. So I'm happy that it actually works. Oh, not a meter saying full. Oh, okay. So there must have been a bad connection somewhere. It didn't need all 8 batteries. Yeah, there it is. So now it's not saying full, and it's not doing anything. So there is something going on. So I moved it and the battery stopped working. So what's going on? All right, so I have to hunt that down, see what's going on. If it's in the switch. Yeah. Yeah, there's something going on. Oh, was it that part I cleaned? Yeah, I just realized that there's a bad connection. Yeah. It's that corroded connection. It's going to need some more cleaning. Yeah. Cool. So this was going to need some more refurbishing. There is some, the wheels are, not the wheels, tires? Tires are kind of shot in the front, but I think I have some replacement ones. There's some parts on and off for this. Turn this off. No. Something's on. There we go. Turn it off. I think. Oh. And there we go. Now everything's off. So I've been collecting parts for this because I've been really meaning to restore it. And I know I had some new stuff. Yeah, so I got some new wheels, front wheels, replace the old ones. I think, I don't remember what these are. Some stuff for something. Yeah, we're getting technical here. There's some old, they came with some old wheels and tires. These are the paddle ones for sand. It's kind of neat versus the spiky ones. Some oil. And some odds and ends stuff, another gear or something. Some flat, worn out tires. Those came with it. Oh yeah, I got some more stuff. Oh yeah, here we go. Ah yeah, okay, I did get some pins. So I got some more chassis cover pins that are correct, not the ones that flew off on me. Another body mount pin, some stuff. Some oil damper. Oh, oil damper rings, okay. So I've got some stuff that's probably enough to get it running. Mainly the tires and wheels. And there's a little bit of weird, it's like some toe-in or something. Something might have gotten bent on the front, it looks like. I'm going to investigate that. But it will be cool. It'll be really neat to get this running, run it out in the beach or something like that. And it's interesting the radio works, which is also really, really neat. Get that over there. Not sure what else. Fix that corrosion issue. Fix that A-arm. And see why the steering is so stiff. The steering is really stiff. There's no servo saver on there. It's got this weird bend on it. Oh, wait, is it a servo saver? Oh, it does have a servo saver. It's built into the steering thing. So these old servos probably didn't have a whole lot of torque. They're big, but not very torquey. Old Futaba S27s, not even 127s. So it's good, 2 for 2. That works. I am very happy. At least I know all that works, so when I'm gonna have to sit, I'm gonna do it now. Oop, poke my eyes out. I like the big antenna on the back. Can you see that? Big whip antenna. That is really neat. So it's interesting, to see the process of trying to restore some of its old stuff, corroded contacts, incompatible connectors, so that has to be changed. This grasshopper is the newest, believe it or not. It was given to me by a friend, and this is actually more modern equipment. It's got an XT30 connector on it. Zoom in a little bit here. So it's got an XT30 connector. It's got the contemporary style servo connectors on it. It's got a new servo, a digital servo. Got a piece of paper in there for something. An electronic speed controller. This sucker, this is practically Star Trek technology compared to the other one. So all it needs is a receiver. And I happen to have a receiver right here. So let me see if I can hook this thing up real quick to a receiver and see if I can get it to go. And probably BEC on it, so no 4 AA batteries. On the bottom, it's got a little door, gearbox. A battery door for stuff. I wonder if this will fit. Probably not, but I'll give it a shot. This is a 2-cell square pack of something. Yeah, it's not fitting. Not quite. 5,000. Oh, no, still. Close, but not quite. No cigar. It's okay, I've got at least 2 different packs of NiCads or nickel metal hydrides that'll work. Here we go. It's funny, when I used to work at a hobby shop, I must have built dozens of these things. Hornets, grasshoppers. Customers would come into the store and say, hey, I like this car, but I don't have time to build it, or I don't want to build it, or something like that. And so I said, yeah, and we would negotiate a price and say, okay, I'll build your car for X amount of dollars. And there's one thing I love to do. This is, I call it the Scotty technique, Scotty from Star Trek. They'd say, well, how long will it take you? And I'd say, well, give me a week to build it. And inevitably, 2 days later, I call them up and say, okay, it's done. And for some reason, I just love doing that. So yeah, it'll take a week. And I knew I could do it in like a night or two. And they'd always be real pleased with that. It's, oh, you're done already? Yeah. That was my secret. So always under promise and over deliver. I guess that's what they call it. So this will have a modern 2.4 gigahertz radio. I've got a receiver, got a transmitter. So I'm just going to plug the channel 1, tab A into slot B for the radio, for the shaky cam. So channel 1, channel 2, that goes there. Find an open model. We'll go 3. Name, we'll call it giving it a name here. Grass. Yeah. All right. So I gotta bind it. So I think I gotta turn it on in bind mode. Put the bind thing in here. Okay, so that's bind. We'll plug these connectors. And it's blinking. I hope that's bind mode. So press the bind button. I think. This is binding. Too close. Bind. Should bind, right? I'm not getting any bind. Oh, there we go. There you go. Okay. This rear's got a weird bind thing. Okay. Yeah, all right. Look at that. That was easy. I'm 3 for 3 tonight. Except the steering's reversed. Oh, no, it's right. Look at that. Left, right. I got too much throw in the servo. Endpoint adjustments. 1 steering. 80. Interesting. There we go. Yeah, dial it down to 50%. It was there we go. Servo was moving too far and overdriving the servo saver. All right. Oh, cooking with oil. Look at that. And now we've got a working All right, so this one is basically ready for immediate use. A little bit of double-sided tapers, or what do you call it? Some Velcro for the receiver, and it's done. That is nice. Speed controller works, switch works, servos work. For some backyard bashing. Won't be the fastest thing in the world at all, but it'd be neat to have my own little grasshopper, Budweiser. Thank you, Sparkles. So, and joke. Look at that. All right. So, nice messy workbench here. So, I don't know how long I've been yakking at you guys. An hour and a half. It's good. All right. Thanks, everybody who's joined me on this. Just work through nostalgia. The sand scorcher, grasshopper, and the holiday buggy over here. So it's good to know the radios work, although I didn't care so much for this one, but it's just interesting that it does. Well, see if you guys, like I said, I asked you guys in the chat, what do you thought if I should use the original radio or go new? I'm leaning towards just using a new one for that. But this one, I'm definitely going old school. Oh, the little antenna thing. Did that go anywhere? There we go. Antenna. So that is neat. I had to find a battery that fits. Probably that 5000 I was looking at earlier from the Wild Willie. These are primitive, no shock, just springs. But that's still cool. I got a little. The local hobby shop to me has a dirt track actually, and they have it. It's just open for people to use. So, hello, I want to take this out to the dirt track at some point. Just drive around, just have some fun with it. Same thing for the other ones once I get them running. It's kind of neat. And maybe drive around the yard. I want to drive on the street because he's got spike wheels. These will get worn out really, really quick. So I just want to keep them in the dirt and grass. If I get something else. And these are not the stock rear wheels. The front wheels are right, but the rear ones are not quite. Somebody replaced them with something aftermarket. So they're a little different. I think a little bigger in diameter. And I need some screws or something to keep this body on. I think something's not right. Now this body, these you had to screw them on, so it looks like a couple of them broke, but there's a couple that are good, so that's good. I got some screws. Look at that. So that's ready to run. This is mostly ready to run, other than the cosmetic and changing the radio. I'll probably go. Just thinking my way through this. See what's issues with the bearings. They look really wonky, even on the steering. Oh, this is interesting. I just noticed this. Going back on the steering mechanism, you can see this. This is super zoom. Yeah, there's these little metal bends on the other side. Maybe you can see it. And this is the servo, the steering linkage. It goes to the steering wheel, and you've got these little bends, just like what we use in some of the airplanes to control, to mechanically change the trim on control surfaces. They have the same thing in the steering. Generally not a good idea on cars to do that. It makes the steering a little squishy, but interesting. Could have been done if the radios didn't have a steering trim. So maybe that's why they did that, but that's weird. So, like I said, this one is pretty much ready to go, but probably going to have, you know what, I'm going to keep the servos in, I think. I'll keep the same servos, but I'm probably going to change out the receiver and make an adapter from these servo connectors to, actually it's pretty easy. No, not, or something. I'd hate to cut the wires just because they're old classic servos. I might see if I have something in a drawer somewhere I can convert, but otherwise I may have to hook something up to convert these old style connectors to a newer receiver, stick that in there. The speed controller, it seems to work mostly. Maybe I'll clean it up and see if I can get it working better. If not, then I'll have to go electronic. Keep the same motor. Oh, there's no differential on this one either. Look at that. Just noticed that. So another one with no differential. That's probably why the wheels are like that. Interesting. And fix up the body. The body's pretty trashed. And it's old. Remember these old long antennas? This is the antenna. The joys of low frequency 75 megahertz. All right, so I think that's productful. Nice there. Some old school RC stuff. We have it so good these days. I mean, this was actually a pretty decent radio way back when. You've got, it's a long antenna. It's a 4-channel radio, Futaba, digital proportional. It's got reversing on some of the channels. I literally had some radios that did they have reversing? I think they always did. No, maybe they didn't. Some of them didn't. It's got a charge jack. There's no trainer port. So fairly decent radio for the time. Interesting to use it for a car. Crystal, but nowadays we have this is worlds apart. Especially this. I'll do this as a comparison. So when we compare, give me 1 second to take these batteries out while I'm thinking of it. May not have been the original battery holder for this. I like this metal case. You know your radio's old when it's got an actual metal case to it. Oh. All right. All right. Now I can finish my waxing lyrical. All right, so 2 radios. Generations apart. This is interesting. So both are RC car radios, right? Here we have an at least 40, pushing 50-year-old radio. 2 channels. You've got a steering wheel, you got a throttle, a couple of mechanical trims, and a power switch and a meter, and that's it. No frills. Futaba FP-T2F. It's spring loaded. It's got a hard wheel. It works. Long antenna, 72 megahertz. Interesting, 72, not 75. And there we have a modern. I think I bought this year. RC car radio. This is a 3-channel, and that's on the 4-channel. This is a 4-channel radio. It can use AA's 4 instead of 8, or I have actually a LiPo pack in there, a little tiny LiPo pack. So we got lithium batteries with no self-discharge. They don't leak. You still got the wheel, but it's got a computer in it now. So now we have a computer system that has, I think this has 10 model memories or something like that. So, more than that, 20. So 20 model memory on it. This has no model memory. 1 model, that's it. You would put in another car, the trims are going to be different, the reversing may be different. Does these even have reversing? I don't even see a reverse switch on this. I'm not sure it even has reversing on any of the channels. You got to do it mechanically. And it's got all kinds I can change the endpoints. I've got dual rates, instant reversing, sub trims, fail safe, crawl. I don't even know what that is. But I've got extra channels. Oh, I'm sorry, this is a 6-channel. Sorry, I barely use this. This is a 6-channel radio. There's a couple other knobs. So 3 times as many channels, 2.4 gigahertz. So this is 1 channel, 40, whatever it is, 72.320, whatever channel that is, and that's it. If anybody else is on that channel, you're not working. This spread spectrum technology uses hundreds of channels all at once to eliminate any chance of interference. Range is probably about the same, roughly. That's pretty amazing. No large antenna, just got this little antenna you can flip up. You don't even have to do that. Amazing what difference. And relative cost. And I guarantee, accounting for inflation, This is a fraction of what this would have cost in today's dollars. I know these are pretty expensive, so you can do so much more functionality through modern technology. It's a crappy battery. I just find it interesting. You might be bored to your tears, but we live in interesting times. Yeah, another receiver. Well, I think that's gonna do it for me for tonight. Might hang around the workshop and take a little closer look at the buggy here. I don't know. At least I got one of them running, and I'll see what the other things need. See what I can do for adapters. So I'm gonna check the chat real quick. I haven't really looked at it. Whee. And now it'll be for tonight. Tomorrow I'm going to clean the workbench so I can get back started on my next project. Oh, maybe we'll talk about that for a second. Check the chat here. Y7. Oh yeah, okay. Some people in the chat. Oh wow, hey, I got some. All right, let me talk in the chat a bit while you look at that stuff. Sorry, you're not going to see my ugly mug. Were those two people that are still around? Well, you can look later. Oh, I got a super chat. Thank you for Aldrich90. Great job keeping old stuff alive. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Yes, I like looking through the old stuff. I do the same thing with airplanes too. I like revising old stuff, and these old cars just really make my heart warm. Give me a good feeling. Resuscitate these old things, drive them around, enjoy them, and maybe some other people enjoy them too. So thank you so much. Yeah, somebody remembers the Heath kit. Heath kits were the build it yourself models and stuff, where you built them from a kit. So he's asking about the 7 batteries instead of 8, and I thought that's odd too. There must have been they couldn't do no. So what is 7? That is because 8 is 12 volts, isn't it? Right? 4? Yeah, it's 12 volts. So minus 1.5. So that's like 10.5 volts. That's odd. I guess they had a voltage limit for some reason. Duraleak. Duraleak batteries. They all. Somebody doesn't be sure. The Hellies. I don't know if are you still around? I think we lost people. I know the numbers went down. When will you fly? Huh? Don't understand the question. All right. So things coming up. If you stay tuned to this channel, I got some things coming up. Give you a sneak peek. Here's something I'm working on airplane-wise. Another thing from Seagull Models plane. So that's coming up. I'm working on that now. I sort of took a quick break to play with the cars, but I will be getting back onto that in the next couple of days as well, over the weekend, end of the weekend. There's something else. I got a couple of things in the works, some things coming. That's one thing right now. Oh, yeah, if you remember my last live show, last workbench things, flying RC. So Ulrich, I'm still not quite understanding the question. Are you talking, when will you fly? Yeah. I need more context. Can you need more words? I'm sorry. When fly at RC? Not sure what you mean by that. I fly often. I flew last weekend. Probably fly tomorrow a little bit. So last live show, I was working on this guy, if you saw it. And I'm proud to say that it has flown. The repair work I did, I finished it up, and I flew it several times over last weekend. Where I got 3 or 4 flights on it, something like that. So it did pretty good. Came back in one piece. Didn't punch the wheels through the wings. It had some drama a little bit. I'll talk about that on the next episode of the RC Roundtable. We had some interesting drama getting it up in the air the first time, but after that was solved, I had a good time with it. It's a nice flying model. It has some interesting quirks, so to speak. But I like it. In fact, you were asking a question, Ulrich. I was probably going to try to fly it tomorrow some more as well. So if you haven't saw that, you'll see check my last live. You might have to click on the live button on the page, in the library. And I did some repair work from damaging it many moons ago. So I'm happy for that. There was another plane I think I talked about, didn't I? Don't remember. Anyways, anything else? There's somebody. I got to see it fly. Look in the air. Yes, yeah, I think Ben. Yes, it was easy to see. I like that. Handle's really nice. I was actually really surprised how well it handled. I was a little conservative in flying it at that field at the event, but I think I'm going to really take it out tomorrow and really open it up at my home field and really explore the flight envelope with it, because it's neat. It's rather large. It's a pretty rare kit now. Being, I mean, there's L39s out there. I think. What is it? What's the name of that jet company? The one that Motion RC sells. Freewing. That's it. There's one or two different Freewings out there. There might even be an FMS version, but it's neat to have one that's a little different. It's got a full fiberglass fuselage on it. Some real nice details in it. It may not be quite as light as the new foamies, but it's got some character to it. I like that. I just cleaned out this table. Now I got all this junk on it again. There must be a name for some sort of phenomena where your workbench gets really, really cluttered instantly. How does that even go in here? Yeah. This way. Okay, there we go. Go sideways. All right, so I am going to go off. Thanks everybody for watching tonight. I appreciate it as always. Thanks for the super chat. And I will get things tidied up. Start working on, continue on the next project. Might tinker with one of these cars a little later, and maybe have a follow up. And thanks everybody for joining me tonight. And no, I don't know anything else. Looks like the chat's clear. It doesn't look like I missed anything. All right, guys, thanks for joining me tonight. And I will see you later.